This video is brought to you by Xavi's new Star Trek merch line. It's here, folks! At last, the long-awaited Star Trek Picard has premiered on Amazon Prime, at least here in the UK. I think everyone was hyped for this show, and being that Picard is my favourite captain in Star Trek, I was incredibly excited to see Patrick Stewart return to the role. I'll be talking spoilers for this episode, so if you haven't seen it, please do so, but if you want a general opinion, I give it a big thumbs up. And after watching the first episode, it's clear Patrick Stewart hasn't lost a damn thing. It's always worth restating just how brilliant an actor he is, and in every scene you can see how much pent-up emotion Picard has. This isn't an actor who's returned to a role, it's a character who has lived a life while off screen. But it's not only that, the writers clearly get the character of Picard. It's fantastic to watch Picard grapple with the immoral decision-making of Starfleet's leaders. It's the same kind of moral steadfastness we saw time and again in episodes like The Drumhead or The Measure of a Man. But on top of that, an element which I was delighted to see was the strong preservation of Picard's innate sense of empathy. During the conversations with Data's apparent daughter Dash, the way he talks to her and settles her concerns is wonderfully written. It's the perfect blend of that moral fortitude, but paired with a deeply caring and comforting presence. After 20 years, Picard is still the brilliant character he always was. Patrick Stewart's performance is still incredible, and I can't wait to see what rich new material the character is given to tackle. Speaking of the aforementioned Dash, I am so glad the mystery surrounding her character is paid off in this first episode. We aren't dragging this out for a whole season just to have a fan-servicey reveal at the end. Despite my fondness for Discovery, it is pretty bad at twists and mysteries and so on, so here they're like, she's Data's daughter, created by Bruce Maddox, and now we can get to the truly interesting parts of the story. Isa Briones is also terrific in the role. It's certainly not easy to be told to act your heart out opposite Patrick friggin' Stewart, but you know what, she swung for the fences and really held her own. She really delivers on the heavy emotional side and kills it as a badass android fighting machine. Was genuinely shocked at the character's sudden death, but the handy switcheroo means we'll get to see more of Briones flexing her clearly robust acting muscles. Now onto the general story, but first a word from this video's sponsor. This video was brought to you by a new Star Trek merch line launching on the 29th at Xavi.com, a slew of brand new, very cool designs to satiate your Star Trek itch. I myself really like this Section 31-esque jumper, which I was kindly gifted with. It's got a really nice embroidered design, one of many really cool designs in this range, and is pretty cozy for these winter months. Click the link below on the 29th and use the promo code BATTLE20 for 20% off the Star Trek range, or the code BATTLE10 for 10% off the site-wide items. Thank you once again to Xavi for sponsoring this video, and now back to Star Trek Picard. Speaking of the plot in general, I'm really glad this show is focusing so heavily on androids and robotics and potentially reverse-engineered Borg cybernetics. I've always felt that Star Trek has surprisingly shied away from really delving into concepts surrounding artificial intelligence and artificial life. Star Trek has a reputation for tackling weighty topics, but intelligent machines aren't very prevalent in the universe the way they are in other franchises. Just as it was fantastic to see Stewart back, it was also a treat to see Brent Spiner return as Data. The few brief scenes he's in show that, like Stewart, he hasn't lost a thing when it comes to playing this role. Yes, I know he looks older, yes, I know the contact lenses aren't the same, but give the guy a break. Presentation-wise, this show looks amazing, but then again, that's to be expected by this point. Discovery has always looked like a cinema-quality product from the very beginning, but while that show's visual style is heavily influenced by the likes of Michael Bay or J.J. Abrams, the cinematography of Picard is much cleaner. There's an emphasis on more natural light thanks to its mostly Earth-based events in this episode. But even from the trailers, when we do jump out into space, that Janusz Kaminski kind of style looks to be the mainstay. Overall, Star Trek Picard feels more cohesive than Discovery has been so far. Discovery has always wrestled with its desire to have season-long story arcs, but also a need to preserve the episodic traditions of older Star Trek shows. Picard, however, doesn't have this problem. The showrunner has said this season will be like a television movie, a single-focused story told over its 10 episodes, and that sounds great to me. And as a hook for that story, I feel confident in saying this will be an awesome entry into the Star Trek franchise. Does it suck? While the full season is yet to come, I will say no, absolutely not. If folk are interested, I've been considering doing shorter videos like this for each of the following Picard episodes on top of my usual season review. If you're keen for that, I'm happy to talk more about this show. Chris McWaters asks, which TV series do you think had the best finale? If we're talking general sci-fi shows, I think the Next Generation finale is brilliant. All Good Things is one of my favourite episodes of Star Trek ever. It manages to be epic but also has fascinating sci-fi elements and a great character-driven narrative. Farscape's finale in the Peacekeeper Wars was also really strong. Outside of sci-fi though, probably Breaking Bad had the best finale. Other than that, I can't really think of any others right now. It's actually really hard to finish TV shows in a satisfying way. Networks rarely map out narratives for several seasons, instead just keeping a show going until it stops being worth the money, but because serialized storytelling is more common now, that way of thinking should be getting phased out. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on all my new uploads. Over on my Patreon you can see videos early. Speaking of which, I'd like to quickly thank my patrons who are now appearing on screen. Have a good one, and as always, live long and prosper.